Hello guys, my name is David and today we are gonna look at dynamic routing in computer networks. So earlier we just saw what is static routing, and here we are gonna talk about dynamic routing. So in dynamic routing we are gonna talk about what networks are connected to the router, and in static routing we spoke about what networks were not connected physically to the router. So here the routers are actually more intelligent, and they actually send and they actually share their information between them, telling that I have this network, I have that network, and they communicate between themselves. So here in dynamic routing we have the same scenario. We have 4 LAN networks and 4 WAN networks, 4 networks between the routers. So here we are gonna look about what are the commands for dynamic routing and how it is achieved. So first we assign IP addresses to all of the LAN networks, all using 192.168.1.0/24, and since that is already done, since I've already done it, I'm going to talk about how dynamic routing is achieved. So here first we go to this command line interface of router 1 and we enable it. After doing that, we configure the router to config, and now we give the command router RIP, which stands for router routing information protocol. So once that's done, we tell this router what networks are connected to it. Network 192.168.1.0 is connected to it. So, and the other network we're going to talk about here is 128 network. So route 1.0 128. So these are the two networks connected to router 1, and similarly for router 2 the networks connected are 128 network, the 160 network, and the 32 network. So here the command line interface would be config t router RIP and network 192.168.1.32 128, and the other was 160. So these are the 3 networks connected to router 2, and similarly we are assigning each of the routers their own networks, and once that's done, the routers share the information between them, telling that this network is present here to my connection, to my physical connection, and to check, and now to check the connections, we give the command show IP route. These C are the physical connections, and R, which stands for here, is the RIP routing information through dynamic routing that we achieved, and that's that. So, and there are 2 kinds of routing informations protocol actually. So the one we just talked about is version 1, and similarly for interfacing version 2 we have the same command line with a small tweaking in it. So config t router RIP, after that we give v space 2, which means version 2, and we give the same network 192.168.1.160. so that's an example. So we just give a network and we give it in version 2. The only difference for version 1 and version 2 is that in version 1 when we have uh, two entirely different networks of different of the same class, we use version 1. Then when we have entirely different networks of different classes, then we need to use version 2. uh, that's the only basic difference between version 1 and version 2. So that's all for dynamic routing, and that's all for this presentation. Thank you.